Hannah Arinitwe, and welcome to Your Space, a platform that allows you, the young people, to express yourself and express your thoughts. Now, we are also live on YouTube and on our Twitter handle at the Your Space Uganda. Now, we've been doing a lot of talking here on Your Space. Today, in particular, we've decided to do more of the listening. We joined Dr. Patricia Achan in a Q&A session with some of you. Let's get into it.
We are going to first welcome Mr. Benjamin to talk to us, and here shortly we'll go into the questions. Let's join in.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
It's my pleasure to be here with you. Thank you, Dr. Patricia, for hosting us today. Thank you for building onto the work of the Lord, building the leaders of tomorrow. My name is Benjamin Macheli. I manage operations at Inspire Synergy. And some of you might wonder what Inspire is. Inspire Synergy, we are a platform that seeks to raise a generation of excellent leaders in the marketplace. So we work with partners, we work with different organizations as well to be able to do this, because we believe one is too small a number to achieve greatness. And UCLF is one of those partners that we have gladly worked with to build the kingdom. We began 19 years ago as just something like this, a professional tea, where because there was a big gap between what the marketplace was demanding and what the then professionals got to learn from school. They figured it was hard for you to be a Christian in the marketplace. So they began simple teas just to talk about, as believers, how can they live out their faith in the marketplace. Then the teas grew beyond just a professionals ministry of Deliverance Church, and they involved other churches who are Total Church, Redeemed, Full Gospel Church. I've forgotten the other two churches, which made the Synergy churches. So then it became the Inspire Synergy. And when COVID came, we grew even beyond the borders of Uganda. And now we have global partners across Africa that we are working with to build and actualize this vision. Things that we have been talking about over the past couple of years, we are seeing some of them coming to pass. We have had partners that have come on board to see that we build over 100 smart cities across Africa. And there are so many things that are happening at our side. But we are glad to partner with you. That is my wife, Faith. And yeah, she also did a diploma in law. So she's in the right company. Yeah, and Auntie Eva Masiko is one of those people that have continued to spur leadership within Inspire, and also in the circles that we are in, Deliverance Church. Those of you that have done, I've done a leadership class where she has facilitated as well. SALT. Those who know AKBF and Intercessors for Uganda, she's a facilitator there as well. So really, you are privileged to listen in from her. Thank you so much. The Lord bless you all. Greetings from the President, Mr. Paul Wafula. He's recently changed positions from Dubai. He's now in Kenya with Equity Group Holdings, but he's still carrying on the vision. Thank you so much. The Lord bless you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Benjamin. Mrs. Eve is our guest speaker of the day, so we're not going to welcome. She's the speaker of the day. So we're not going to welcome her right now. What we are going to do is let us go into the questions. I hope that's okay. Yes. So as you people prepare the verbal questions, I have 3 here. So if it's okay, Dr. Patricia and Mr. Benjamin, you'd help us answer these. And then for Mrs. Eva, just in case you find any that you'd want to address, you could please note it down. When your time comes, you can please address the same. All right. So the first question is, what happens when you are outnumbered in a space and you are the only standing for righteousness and justice? Is it wise to stand your ground even when it means standing up against your boss? That is the first question. Then the second one says, my dreams and prospects have suffered contradictions. Are there fields in law that I should not venture in because of my Christian convictions? For example, family and divorce law, among others. Number 3 says, I prayed to God and asked him to show me my purpose, but I haven't gotten an answer yet. Is there anything I need to do or wait? Those are the questions as Dr. Patricia and Mr. Benjamin prepare. Are there any other questions that are on paper or? Okay. This one says, in the generation like ours, where lawyers are very many and thousands of students being released into the field yearly, is there still hope for us who are still struggling? How best can one balance fellowship activities with academic life?
But I will start with the last one. Integrity. How is integrity a critical quality for leaders? Remember, we are talking about leadership with excellence. And we had asked ourselves in the beginning, what is that brings you out to be this unique Christian who is able to work with integrity? Integrity is about being as honest and truthful as possible with yourself and with others. Can you come out as this honest person? Today it is difficult to find leaders with these qualities of integrity. Why? Because so many people have gone into compromises here and there. Remember when we were looking at the biblical character in Daniel, he stood out with excellence because he was honest. Even when they decided not to eat the king's food, he told the guards, hey, look, we don't need this food. For us, we can do with vegetables and water. And it yielded positive results. They did not hide or pretend to eat the other food that was, but they came out truthfully and talked about it. So as a Christian, how can we rebuild that integrity? By beginning to walk the talk. Can you walk the talk? I'll give you an example. When I was in the Ministry of Works, there are times when I wanted to get a day or two off. And I would go to the PS and say, PS, the rains have come. I double up as a farmer. I need to go to Kachumbala in Bukedea to ensure that my nuts are properly weeded and attended to as it's raining. And PS would say, hey, doctor, it's a Thursday. I would say, yes, I'm asking for just this Thursday and Friday so that I can do some substantial work even through the weekend. And he would say, well, it's okay to go. When we need you, we'll call you. Be on standby, but go. So I would go. The Ginger Nile Bridge. I did the cabinet paper for that Ginger Nile Bridge while I was in Bukedea. I remember one Friday I went to the district headquarters. Everybody had gone away to the market where they eat sugarcane and muchomo. I had to find where internet was available to send the cabinet. But it's about walking in the light. Sometimes you would say, go. I said, but I go. How do I go? Aren't you giving me fuel? I'm not going to drive my car with water. You'd say, but doctor, you're becoming very impossible. Then you would call the transport officer and say, fill her tank. I would not go and forge vouchers and say, I'm going for official duty. No, I'm going to do my personal things. But can they facilitate me also? And I would walk in the light. So a person with integrity should be able to be as truthful. Don't go and forge and say, my mother is sick. The devil may bring sickness to that mother. Someone went and told a lie to the boss that, I have lost an uncle. Do you remember the other uncle who came here the other week? He passed on, now I'm going for burial. And then the uncle actually, the following day came. So someone said, the uncle who you say has come to the office to see you, but he told a lie and he has gone away because he wanted time off. So it's about truthfulness. How honest are you? Today people do lots of forgeries. They forge accountabilities, they forge evidence, they forge here, there, but as a Christian lawyer, what quality of leadership are you offering today? Integrity is about being accountable to not only the people with you, but also the people who are watching you. Accountable. Those who are married, about accountability to our spouses. Truthfulness, honesty. One time I met someone at a public toilet around City Square. The person, "Ni one on the office, but you're in a public toilet." Someone is in Mabira heading to Iganga. I say, no. It starts with those little things. How honest are you? How truthful are you? Integrity is very, very critical in leaders. If you're one person who keeps telling lies here and there, tomorrow when they do background checks, they'll say, the other person was not reliable because he was moving like. So we are supposed to be very clear, very straight in the way we do our business. And if we're children of God, the Bible should be that lamp that offers guidance, that light to our path. So all will be well. Generation with lawyers, thousands release. How do we balance Christianity and academic life? I think I touched on this when I was still unpacking Daniel. The examples I gave, are you the kind of person who is going for these fellowships Monday to Monday? You are the one in the whole fellowship, you are the one in the faculty fellowship, you are the one in the general fellowship, you are the one in the women's fellowship. When will you do the academic work? And I gave you my example. I'm in a singing group, not this tinga business, but singing gospel, where I would go and sing and do evangelism, but still come out and try to be that student of excellence. How do you balance? Because God is a hardworking God. You're supposed to be hardworking too. You're not supposed to embarrass his name. They will say, balokole. He's not even able to get good grades in class. So you need to work extra hard in order to come out with excellence. Ask yourself, in this class of 90, how do I come out the best? Remember, you're a child of God. You don't have to embarrass God with poor grades. You're supposed to be coming up with a good testimony. So that calls for a lot of hard work. How do you balance Christianity and academic life? I said, even in your academic life, people should see the Christian in you because of the other excellence. If you're someone of excellence, people will know that, this one, because he has the fear of God, he had to pass this paper. But when the worst comes to the worst, you can ask God, say, God, give me guidance. Help me to understand family law better. How do I approach such questions? And you will be able to understand. For the people in LDC, how do you build a strong team? LDC is more about teamwork. Who are those you have identified to be in that discussion group? Do you have a criminal law expert? Do you have a civil expert? Do you have a family expert? Because in LDC, you're not going to say, for the 5 questions we have been given, I am going to read this all by myself and answer. Learn team dynamics. Work as a team. But can you distinguish yourself and say, for me, I'm going to be this corporate lawyer. For me, I'm going to be this human rights expert. For me, my niche is in tax law. I'm going to be this tax lawyer. And by the way, they are very scarce today. When you go to tax appeal tribunal, there are some people there who are fidgeting. They don't know how to unpack the tax laws. And I look at it, I'm like, hey, I go back to school. But now age has caught up with me. Now I'm looking at you, the student leaders. Can you come out, identify this area, find your niche and say, I'm going to be the most excellent tax lawyer this country has ever had. Mine is intellectual property. Pick that area, specialize in that area and come out. And people will say, this thing started as a joke in student leadership. Today we have an expert in such a person, an expert here, an expert in family, an expert in this area. So you need to find what your niche is. Someone talked about purpose. And I've been praying, what is my purpose? Remember Jeremiah, God said, I knew you even before even the idea was in the head of your parents that let us make Monica today. God knew that there will be such a person for such a time as this, and that person will be fulfilling this purpose. How do you get to know that purpose? Where are your interests? First of all, when you cultivate the fear of the Lord, the Lord guides your footsteps. Footsteps. I was giving my testimony one time, and I went to S1. I didn't even know what I wanted to be. Today, children, my son was telling me, you see, Mommy, I like driving. I think I want to be a driver. Children can identify what they like when they're young and growing. Me, S1, I didn't know. It was until I went for this mission at Busoga College, Mwiri, and AYF came to minister. And they sang beautifully. And I was taken up by the ministry, by the music. And when it came to introducing themselves, this lady introduced herself and said she's called Sheila Wamala. She's not Sheila Wamala, but she has another name. So she said she is at the law school in Makerere. And then I was like, hey, so if a lawyer can serve God, I think that is what I want to be. I quickly made the decision there and then. And I was like, if I can be a lawyer and help people. And then I met people who got to mentor me. My mother was working in FIDA Uganda as a program officer. I got to meet Madam Eva here. She was one of the legal officers then. They got to mentor me on how to prepare legal briefs, legal opinions, on how to counsel, on how to talk to clients. And I was like, hey, now I can help people with serious issues. People who are having marital problems, they want maintenance, they want this and that. They have been fighting the whole night in their homes. They end up. But as a young lawyer, when you identify your niche and say, for me, mine is to help women and children, then you start moving and working towards that direction and ask for God's guidance. And God will use you in those different spaces. God will use you irrespective of your background. Like I was talking about, for Daniel's, God did not have a board meeting or committee meeting and say that I want so and so to be elevated from here. No, Daniel was a slave. He was chosen to go and serve in the kings, a king who had actually captured them. But he chose to serve with excellence. And you see, he was elevated and served 4 kings. So as a student leader, when you choose to stand for integrity, for truthfulness, for honesty, and work with distinctiveness, then you propel yourself with excellence to do bigger things. I want to thank Inspire Synergies, Benjamin Macheli, for facilitating these students to be here today, because it is a seed you have sown, and for us, we highly value that. We value the students, leaders. We know that from here, they're going to be big people. From here, they're going to be great people, and they will have impact, positive impact in the spaces they're working in. Because as we talk about driving integrity or being ambassadors of integrity, we know that they can have impact wherever they go.
As you can see, I'm not very small. God wires you for your job. Do you know that? Do you know, straight out of school, I would go and the client sits this side and another part sits that side, and I'm not telling them the line passes here. But I was 22 maybe. But he wired me for that job. And they would all sit and listen with respect. And I did that. So that's just an aside. I used to feel bad that I was very big. But actually God made me like that because there was a season in my life where I needed this size. And that size worked for me in that season. I remember there was once a landmark, I think in Buziga. You know how valuable land is in Buziga? And I remember for sure, I had a clan on one side and people following me and were looking for the Mpani. You know the Mpani? The land markings. And in my head, I'm saying, can you imagine? I'm leading all these people and I'm not showing them where we are going and where the land is going to divide. But that's good. So I worked in FIDA. One day, the executive director goes on maternity leave. I'm there in my office doing my job. Then they call me and say, she's going, and she said, you're the acting executive director. Me? There were people who were there older than me, who had been in the institution longer. But what she said, if you're faithful in little, God will make you faithful, will open doors for you. So I was acting executive director for 8 months. I was 26, maybe. I don't remember how old I was, but I was young. Here was I, and when I left school, my whole world was law, legal school, chambers. But I want you to know that the law is such a good base degree. And I use that word base meaningfully. It is something you start with and you can go anywhere. It teaches you analysis, it teaches you different points of view, it teaches you how to read, even to interpret where you are. So when I sat in the executive director's office and had to pay people's salaries, even people who are older than me, I had to grow up. And God used that to stretch me and teach me. I had to learn how to engage donors. I had to learn how to write proposals. I had to write, I moved away from legal law to program management, human resource management, financial management, accounting, auditing, because we are going to be audited. You understand? So the other thing I tell you is don't close in into law school. Don't close in. Just know that law degree is the best degree. It's where you're starting from. And you're flying to all other places from there. You're going to use it elsewhere. And since then, I have not practiced law for the last practice. I'm marking practice. I have been in program management. That's what I do. My title is governance advisor. And I work for RTI International. It's an international company. It has about 5,000 staff in about 90 countries. And my job is to go and support projects elsewhere on different things. But what I am telling you, don't put your eye on our ego market here. That is small. Just be faithful with what God gives you and allow Him to take you where. I can tell you that I never thought, and I'm saying this with humility, in the last year, I have worked in about 8 countries. But when I was in law school, it wasn't in my path. So what am I saying? Be faithful with the little and open your horizon, and the sky is the limit.
Thank you so much, Madam Evelyn. So the rest of the questions were really addressed, except for this one that I had not read and this one. So just a re-echo, this one said, my dreams and prospects have suffered contradictions. Are there fields in law that I should not venture in because of my Christian convictions, like family and divorce, among others? And then this one says, my fiancé and I do not feel like we have the same purpose, but we are committed to each other! Exclamation mark. That is what it says. I don't know the type of commitment, but as brief as that, with warning, danger. I really don't know who's going to address that. Then let's also have her question, because our lunch is set and we are running a little bit behind schedule. So we are trying to close up this session as we go for another. And you also have a question? So we will kindly please take hers and yours, and they will be addressed. We pray for our lunch and go have it as we prepare to hear from our guest speaker. Let's please have your question.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, our leaders. My question says, how can one handle integrity violations that will come from people who owe you a duty of care, or from people that are maybe stronger than you or you're supposed to look up to?
Sometimes we look at it as a blessing that may have come for your way. And now someone may not understand you in an opportunity that has come. You don't know actually the money that was needed to, because you had not been in that field. And then it looked to be a blessing now, but in your insight, you saw it as a blessing in this case. Now you are worried, and now to us as Christians, we would see that as a blessing, not knowing how much it would cost. So how should someone, as a Christian lawyer or as a Christian, draw a line to know that this is an opportunity, this is a blessing from the Lord, or this really needs a conviction? Do we draw that line or a perimeter from a line of conviction from the Lord, from the perspective of the knowledge and the background that maybe you have inquired about that very particular opportunity that has come by our way? So we would love to know the lines and the parameters that we should draw, knowing a blessing from the Lord and opportunity that comes our way in relation to integrity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I'll start with that last one. How do you draw a line between what has come to you as an opportunity and what is a blessing? Remember, as a child of God, we have talked about honesty, we have talked about truthfulness, we have talked about plying the path of integrity. A person of integrity does not cheat another. A person of integrity always walks in the light. I gave that testimony when I was taken on as a lead consultant to do some work. And when the opportunity came my way, I thought it was very big. I first of all did not want to take it up, and I said that this one is too big. I think let me give it to my matron who is senior to me, someone called Pamela. I want her to be the one to do it. But the people insisted that they wanted me to do the work. So the documents are put together, the contract is sent, and when I read through, I sent it back. I sent it back because I thought they had put in a lot of money. Because Coffee International worked it out in pounds. When I converted it to Uganda shillings, it was close to 400 million. And I said, me? 400? No, I think this is a mistake. I sent it back without explaining, or for me, by the way, what works for me, silence sometimes is golden. I just sent the contract back blindly without even any explanation or any reason why. And when they looked at it, they revised it upwards by additional 27. So I was like, hey, I think this thing is going to keep increasing. It's mine. And it looked good and even looked better. And I took on, I said, taking it on, I have to serve with excellence. Now I started thinking in terms of how am I going to do the task? So as a Christian, when you get such an opportunity, you put your best foot forward, give it your best shot. And when you serve with excellence, it's a billboard. So that when they show you, say, this person did a good job, worked with distinctiveness, and can get other jobs and other opportunities.
I did realize that some of these questions that we asked today were deep-rooted in a bit of fear and anxiety for the future. But there's one thing I want to let you know. There is hope at the end of the tunnel. Thank you so much for joining me today on Your Space with your host, Hannah Arinitwe. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.